It's not the typical path that I've taken. Directly or indirectly, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be.
Coming up on this edition of Movie Star, the career of an actor who's famous for his chest and his big grin, Matthew McConaughey.
When you have a story that lends itself to is a great, hopeful drama, all we had to do is just stay on point.
Laid-back Texan Matthew McConaughey lives life to the beat of his own drum.
He is one of those guys that you just have a total soft spot for.
He starts a take by dropping and doing 20 push-ups, and he finishes the take about the same way. So he is there 110% all the time.
There's a twinkle in his eye. He's always just one step from a joke.
He's just one of those guys that's larger than life. I mean, it's like you just sort of see it, and he just has this presence that's, there's not many of them, man, but he is definitely a movie star.
Matthew McConaughey's Texas charm has won him fans in the theaters and on the set. Michael Spire, managing editor of the industry trade publication Variety, says his easygoing attitude is a big plus to producers.
The thing about Matthew McConaughey is he really is the personification of the relaxed, down-home actor. Any film, any producer looking for a love interest, kind of the guy next door, your best friend, he's proven that over and over again, that that's really the role for him.
Matthew cultivated his down-home persona, including chewing tobacco, while growing up in a small Texas town. He was born Matthew David McConaughey on November 4th, 1969, in Uvalde, Texas. He is the youngest of 3 boys. His father was a pro football player who moved to Texas in the early 50s. In high school, Matthew was voted most handsome. After high school, Matthew took a year off to live and work in Australia. Then he returned to the States to attend the University of Texas and study law. During his sophomore year, he switched his major to film.
University of Texas is such a big university. It's where a lot of people in the state go for their creative arts, for writing, for producing, for directing, for the communications department. They do produce a lot of good people.
Matthew stayed in Texas after graduation to take a role in Dazed and Confused. He played Wooderson, a high school has-been who can't let go of the old days. Dazed and Confused became a cult classic and earned Matthew his first taste of fame.
Gave me incredible opportunities. I'm not saying I wouldn't be sitting here if I wouldn't have done that, but it would have definitely been a hell of a different path.
Dazed and Confused also featured a bit part by Matthew's fellow UT grad Renee Zellweger. The two also co-starred in The Texas Made My Boyfriend's Back and Texas Chainsaw Massacre, The Next Generation.
Anyone who stars in small, low-budget films like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre sequel and then becomes a big Hollywood star, usually that's just more of being along the lines of earning your way up to Hollywood.
Later in 1994, Matthew stepped up to the plate for his first major studio picture, Disney's Angels in the Outfield, the story of a group of angels who help a down-on-its-luck baseball team.
And action! Break!
The next year, Matthew and Drew Barrymore got cozy in Boys on the Side. After Boys on the Side, Matthew returned to Texas to make Lone Star, a mystery with a message directed by indie film maverick John Sayles.
The best time for you to sneak in is that when the camera has overrun away.
That same year, McConaughey would make another movie with a message, and it would kick his career into high gear. He won a lead role in A Time to Kill after director Joel Schumacher passed on a lot of big-name movie stars. The movie, adapted from John Grissom's best-selling novel, co-stars Sandra Bullock and Samuel L. Jackson. McConaughey impressed the production team by delivering a long summation scene at the end of A Time to Kill in one take. And for his effort, he won the Breakthrough Performance Award at the MTV Movie Awards the following year.
It feels great. There's a lot of good feelings about this. One, MTV music, love music, and I don't know what I'd do with that music. Second is that this is the youth of the world.
That same year, Matthew could be seen in 2 other movies, Glory Days and Larger Than Life. These were bit parts for Matthew, but memorable ones. Then in 1997, he turned down the lead in Titanic to co-star with Jodie Foster in Contact, based on Carl Sagan's novel about the search for intelligent life in outer space.
As a person of faith, I'm bound by a different covenant than Dr. Airway, but our goal is one and the same, the pursuit of truth. It's a great human drama and a love story.
which makes it, I think, a little bit easier for the person viewing it to go, all right, yeah, I kind of felt that right there, you know, instead of dismissing something that's straight science fiction.
Matthew's degree in film may have influenced him to choose Contact. After all, the script, director Robert Zemeckis, and his co-star all seemed a perfect combination for success, and there was plenty of pressure on Matthew to make another hit.
This is a movie hell thing, right, Joe? I mean, but you can't, you gotta look only in this eye.
Although it received mixed reviews, Contact was a big moneymaker, and once again, Matthew impressed his co-workers. He and Jodie Foster became good friends, appearing arm in arm at the premiere.
Was there fun working together on this, and if so, what was fun about it?
Oh, yeah.
We
were eating Jell-O and dancing.
What else are we doing?
Practical jokes?
No,
Yeah.
we spent a lot of time talking though. We had our our kind of religious, philosophical, scientific debate thing happening.
Yeah, and in between that, there was a lot of funny stuff.
In 1997, Matthew teamed up with another A-list director, Steven Spielberg, and another Oscar winner, Anthony Hopkins. The film Amistad, inspired by the true story of a 19th century slave ship uprising.
Almost how it works here.
I read the script, I didn't know the story, was not familiar with it. I was pretty overwhelmed by the story, by the fact that it was true. Felt honored and wanted to work with Steven Spielberg. It was a no-brainer.
Matthew was proud of the movie, and although it didn't do as well as he had hoped, he received rave reviews. But Matthew's next movie choices weren't as well received.
Matthew McConaughey probably was on a course to become one of the higher paid movie stars back in '96 and '97 with so many big hits in a row along with the critically acclaimed Amistad. It showed his range as well as he could bring in the money. Since then, he seems to have tapered off, if not gone down a little bit.
In 1998, the Newton Boys re-teamed Matthew with dazed and confused director Richard Linklater. The story, about a family of real-life Texas bank robbers, didn't do well with audiences, but the history lesson appealed to Matthew.
And they were surviving, making a living. They looked at it as a business. They weren't just trying to get away with things. They were sincerely trying, especially Willis was sincerely trying to make a living this way. Saw it as a legitimate business. It's not a typical gangster film.
All right, set and action. Pick them beat up, boy!
While reviews for the Newton Boys were less than stellar, Matthew did get a positive reaction for the short film he produced that year with Sandra Bullock, Making Sandwiches.
It's about the differences in all of us, men and women, and a couple, and how we get along and how we don't, and what we can find to agree on.
After the positive experience, Matthew started his own production company. He named it JKL Productions, after a line his character used in Dazed and Confused. JKL stands for Just Keep Living.
He has a production company set up in Hollywood. They are active, they do a lot of work, and he seems to be kind of dipping his pen into different areas of the industry, which is very smart in case one of them falls through.
Producing gave Matthew more control, but he was in serious need of another hit. In 1999, he starred in Ed TV. The script was based on a timely subject, reality television. The movie had a hot director, Ron Howard, but the box office reception was decidedly cool. Matthew couldn't interest audiences in Ed TV, but his private life was another matter. That October, he was arrested in Austin, Texas. Neighbors had complained about his late-night bongo playing, and when the police arrived, they found him drumming away in the nude. Matthew took the incident in stride, and so did Hollywood.
Hollywood is a very forgiving place, and as long as you can bring yourself to the film, to the program, do a good job, do what people expect of you, bring in the box office, I don't think people care that much, as is with the history of actors and actresses in this town. What happens to them, it really doesn't really matter as long as they do their job.
Fortunately, Matthew's box office outlook did improve with the release of his next movie, U-571. Matthew pursued the World War II submarine thriller because he wanted to make an action film.
Fire! I've always been looking for, quote, a kind of an action film that I didn't have to say something like, I'll be back, or something. I did it that wasn't, you know, that was character driven, I don't know, that wasn't about the explosion. This being based in World War II,
it became apparent that, boy, if we just go tell the story and just do the job, the story itself is, and the action's inherent in the story.
Following the high testosterone U-571, Matthew chilled out with a light romantic comedy, The Wedding Planner.
My basic strategy, as general as it is just trying to do things different, try to do different things. I've never done a romantic comedy. There's also timing issues. I had just come off of U-571. Hardcore duty film, mission, responsibility, life, death, 17 men. And I kind of felt like being light and lovable.
I know, you think he'd be bigger. Yeah.
It was important to Matthew that he have chemistry with his co-star, Jennifer Lopez. So before accepting the role, he made a detour to meet her.
I just met with Adam Shank, the director, in Tucson, Arizona, like a Bennigan's on the side of the road, because I was on a road trip back from Texas. And I wanted to meet Jennifer, and I'd never met her before. And I found out she was in Vegas. Well, the exit to go to Vegas at about 9 p.m. one night was about 8 miles ahead of me, so I took a right and headed up to Vegas, found her at Caesar's Palace or something, having a dinner, and went and sat down, and I wanted to see what the rapport was going to be like. I wanted to just see, like, you can tell in 5 minutes whether something's going to work or not.
Ooh, maybe you shouldn't step on my foot.
Did I?
The Wedding Planner opened well, but in the end only did moderate business. Again, Matthew took it in stride. After all, he was busy with 3 more movies in 2002. Among them, 13 Conversations About One Thing and Frailty, a thriller directed by Matthew's U-571 co-star Bill Paxton.
We got to know each other on U-571, which was a great experience for both of us. And I read the script, and he was the first person and only person I ever thought of playing Fenton Meeks.
He brought a hell of a lot of enthusiasm to the set every day, which was, he was the engine that motored it every day. And a lot of times that meant just beating it down and getting it done.
You see, to him, he hadn't killed a woman, he had destroyed a demon.
Frailty, the story of a serial killer, is narrated by McConaughey's character.
I liked being in a character that you can't, is he quite giving all the truth, or is he not? Yeah, he is. He's being completely honest. He's being very honest. He's telling the truth, telling his truth. But man, is his truth an illusion?
Oh, got him! Got him!
Matthew shaved his head to play a hotshot hero who saves the world from fire-breathing dragons in Reign of Fire.
He was in full-on warrior mode for this. His character is this insane military man, and he was in formidable shape.
Did a lot of work on my ranch for a couple of months. Lifted hay bales, ran barefoot on hot sand, miles on hot sand to toughen up the soles of my feet. A lot of boxing, about 8 months of boxing. And then push-ups about whenever I could do them, anytime I had a break.
Matthew's hard work paid off with an exciting film, but even fire-breathing dragons couldn't warm up the critics' cool reception.
Settle, please.
Once again, Matthew balanced the action with a romantic comedy, How to Lose a Guy in 10 Days. This time his co-star was an up-and-coming leading lady, Kate Hudson.
We just met and had a great time. I mean, we just had a meeting and we had a blast. And everybody seems to be talking about the chemistry, and that's a great thing.
Are you saying
This is a great romantic comedy lead male role, where it becomes a two-hander and we battle it out, and we duel the entire time, and it's fun getting there.
Matthew laid low after completing How to Lose a Guy. His only movie in the next 2 years was an indie drama called Tiptoes, which premiered on DVD in 2004. McConaughey burst back onto the big screen in 2005 as adventurer Dirk Pitt in a filming of Clive Cussler's bestseller Sahara.
Hey, buenos dias.
You're late.
Excuse me? I chased this character down 7 years ago. Finally got a hold of it.
I need you to throw a bundle of that dynamite into the hillside every time I say, comprende?
Along with co-stars Penelope Cruz and Steve Zahn, Matthew crisscrossed the desert in search of lost treasure.
That's what I'm doing, man. In my real life too, man. Always looking for lost treasure, man. And I travel all around the globe, man. I love checking out God's big backyard, man. Going over to places where no one speaks the same vocabulary, got different rituals, different religions, and customizing, learning something, absorbing their culture, and then coming out of it going, oh yeah, that's right, we're all the same.
The biggest lead in the movie, the biggest fish in the pond, sets the tone of the movie. And Matthew came day one ready to work and to work hard, and he set the tone for everybody. And his passion, his dedication really assured me a positive set.
Matthew also set the tone for his next movie, Two for the Money. The world of sports gambling is the background for this drama, co-starring Al Pacino and Rene Russo.
Look it. Can anyone, for that matter, afford to lose as much as a man like you needs to bet to actually feel a win?
Matthew is so good in this movie. He is so good. And I have to say, he's, you know, every actor has a different way of working. Matthew is so into it that he actually goes there. You know, I can see that even in between takes, it's like, oh, wow, that's interesting.
I love sports, and I like to, you know, I've always wagered a little bit. I've never been an addict on that or anything. I just, if I want to bet, I bet most of my money on myself on the golf course, you know, because I want to know, then I know who won it or who lost it.
I will match you, my dysfunctional childhood and Tony's against yours any day of the week. My father, 5 foot, arms like...
Al Pacino plays a seasoned and successful bookie who recruits McConaughey into the business.
He's funny. He's a clown too, man. He's such a clown. And that's part of that. Don't hold on to anything. You can't lose anything if you never held on to it too tightly to begin with. There's a fervor he gets up to. It's fun. It's fun working with him. It's really fun.
I can sleep
Repeat after
in this
me, I
movie.
am the man.
I am the man.
Matthew followed Two for the Money with a romantic comedy, Failure to Launch. Sarah Jessica Parker co-stars as a woman hired to coerce a grown man to leave the nest, a bedroom in his parents' home.
Well, so far I must say I'm very impressed. Beautiful setting, a simple meal. I assume this technique has worked in the past.
Yes, ma'am, it has. Is it working now?
You know what? Kind of is.
He's not necessarily a slacker, so to speak, staying back, but he's 35 and he still lives at home, and he hadn't moved out yet. But for him, he's kind of got it figured out, you know? Don't make a straight line crooked. It's going well. He gets along with his parents. He's got a great bedroom. Mom cooks great. He likes them. They like him. And there's no reason to change.
Matthew just has that kind of energy about him, that easy breezy, you know, loves life, loves people, and it's very fun. I keep saying spirited, but it just seems to fit.
Proving Matthew's box office appeal, Failure to Launch was a moneymaker. Big screen successes allow actors to work on passion projects, movies close to their heart that appeal to a smaller audience. His next film, the drama We Are Marshall, focuses on a college football team rebuilt after the majority of the team dies in a plane crash. McConaughey plays the new coach.
That's it, Oliver. That's it, Oliver. That's what we're talking about, right? Every single time as the QB of the video, you've got those 3 choices. Run, pitch, or throw.
I think we did a real honorable and job that I'm proud of, and it's the most gratifying film I've ever been a part of.
Just in time for Valentine's Day 2008, Matthew's romantic adventure Fool's Gold hit theaters. He teams with Kate Hudson again for this story about lost treasure, which featured plenty of action.
The physical work's a lot of fun for me. The physical comedy's a lot of fun. There's more physical comedy in this for me than anything I've done before, too. You know, there's some things in here that are very slapstick that I've never done before, you know?
I guess there's kind of like a brother-sister thing that we have, which is weird because we're always playing intimate, in an intimate relationship, but we kind of like goof around with each other, and we're both kind of like have a little competitive nature, and we kind of work each other up.
And looking here.
Boy.
Fool's Gold filmed in Australia. After its release, McConaughey became a dad when his girlfriend, Camilla Alves, gave birth to a baby boy. This new father learned a new sport for his next comedy, Surfer Dude.
Caught my first wave, a little white water, and then that turns into catching a face, getting down the line, and then you start to try and go up and down a little bit, and then once you get one, 25, 30-second ride down the face of a wave, and then you're on the magic carpet ride, and it's not plugged in, it's all natural, and you've got your balance, that's all of a sudden you're hooked. To go back and get some more of that.
Next, Matthew made a romantic comedy loosely based on Charles Dickens' A Christmas Carol, called Ghosts of Girlfriends Past. Jennifer Garner co-stars in this story about a bachelor who's haunted by the ghosts of his former girlfriends.
It's smarter than other romantic comedies, and it's funnier. Because we're ripping off old Mr. Dickens. We have this whole other part of the movie that has ghosts, you know, with Michael Douglas and with Emma Stone, and these real huge funny performances. And at the heart of it is a little sweet romantic story.
It was a great device in the movie to have ghosts because it's above and beyond logic. It's not about being logical. So you got this guy who has to have the you-know-what scared out of him to come to his senses. And it's a lot cooler when you have ghosts scare the hell out of you than someone actually sitting down and trying to talk you into it. You know what I mean?
McConaughey didn't bring his son to the Ghosts of Girlfriends Past premiere, but he was definitely on Matthew's mind.
Leah's got a great mama, and that's why part of the reason it's going really well. How you doing? He's good, 9.5 months, healthy, happy, 10 fingers, 10 toes. That's the first things you're happy for. And he's a inherently happy kid right now. And yeah, it is cool. Being a dad's really nice, and I'm proud of it.
In 2010, McConaughey and Alves welcomed another child, a baby girl. But being a dad hasn't slowed him down. Fans will be seeing plenty of Matthew McConaughey in the next few years. His plate is full with dramas, thrillers, and comedies.
If I've had any rule with my career, it's go do different things. I like all different walks of life. Got all, people, human existence has all different sides to it.
Thank you for watching this Matthew McConaughey edition of Movie Star. Join us next time for another inside look at your favorite stars of the